You ever found yourself totally lost in a story, flipping through the pages, dying to know what happens next? I bet that story had a killer plot, with all the right pieces clicking together like a perfect puzzle. So, what exactly are those magic ingredients that take a plot from me to mind-blowing? Well, you're in luck, because today we're going to break down the 5 essential parts of any jaw-dropping, page-turning plot. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how these pieces fit together to keep readers hooked from the first page to the last. First up, let's talk about exposition, aka setting the stage. This is where you introduce your main characters, paint a picture of the world they live in, and give us a taste of what's to come. Think of exposition like the opening scene in a movie, where you meet the key players and get a sense of what's about to go down. The trick with exposition is to give readers just enough info to get them oriented, without bogging them down in too many details right off the bat. It's like when you're meeting someone new. You want to give them the highlights, not your whole life story. Sprinkle in those juicy details, but keep the focus on the most important stuff we need to know to dive into the story. Next comes the rising action, where things start to get spicy. This is where you throw your characters into the deep end and watch them sink or swim. You'll hit them with a bunch of challenges, obstacles, and curveballs that they have to overcome. And as the story goes on, the stakes get higher and the problems get bigger. Picture it like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts out small, but it picks up speed and size as it goes, until it's this massive, unstoppable force. That's what you want your rising action to feel like. Each new challenge should be tougher than the last, so readers are biting their nails, wondering how the heck your characters are going to make it out alive. And that leads us to the climax, the oh snap moment, where everything comes to a head. This is the point of no return, the big showdown, the moment where your character faces their biggest fear or obstacle head on. In a love story, it might be the big, sweeping confession of feelings. In an action flick, it's the ultimate battle between good and evil. Everything's on the line, and readers are holding their breath to see how it all shakes out. But wait, there's more. After the big kaboom of the climax, you've got the falling action, where the dust starts to settle. This is where your characters deal with the aftermath of the big blow-up and start to put the pieces back together. You're tying up those loose ends and showing us what's changed after the climax rocked everyone's world. And finally, you've got the resolution, the big finish, the happily ever after, or not. This is where we see how everything turned out for your characters and what they learned along the way. A killer resolution will leave readers feeling satisfied and maybe even a little misty-eyed, like they've been on this wild ride right alongside your characters. So let's do a quick recap. You've got exposition to set the stage, rising action to ramp up the tension, the climax, falling action to deal with the fallout, and resolution to bring it all home. When you weave these 5 elements together just right, you end up with a plot that grabs readers and doesn't let go. As you're dreaming up your next story, think about each of these pieces and how you can use them to keep readers on the hook. Play around with different ways to kick off your story, crank up the drama, and bring it all to a stunning conclusion. Want to dive even deeper into the art of plotting? I've put together an awesome course that breaks down all the nitty-gritty details. You can check that out in the description below if you want to take your writing skills to the next level and support the channel further.